Someone else, where are we constant? I'll put a colon. -1 to 3. That's a parenthesis there. I promise. Use the calculator to find the relative extrema of f of x is x cubed minus 5x plus 1. We're also going to determine the intervals where the function is increasing, decreasing, and it's constant. Okay, when you're ready, bust out your calculator. And we're going to go into y equals. Now you may have some stuff there. I'm going to clear mine out because I don't need this anymore. And as mentioned last class, if any of these plots are turned on, notice how that was highlighted. You want to turn that off by highlighting it again and hitting enter. Otherwise, you may get some errors. So our first goal is to get that function into the calculator. So x raised to the third minus 5x plus 1. All right, the hard part is figuring out the window to use. Most of the time, you will not know what window to use because the function's crazy go nuts. We sort of have a crazy go nuts one here, so it's always best to start with your standard window, which is your -10, 10. You can do this one of two ways. You can hit window. Mine is not even close to -10, 10. I don't feel like typing all of it. So instead, if you go to zoom, which is the top middle button, the sixth one down says Z standard, which means zoom standard, which will automatically make it -10, 10. So I'm going to select that one. And there's the graph. Is everyone okay with this graph?
Yeah.
We're good? Okay. All right, let's find the maximum first, which appears to be about right here. The keystrokes necessary to find the max are, notice above the trace button is this thing called calc, and it's in blue for my calculator. So we're going to hit second calc. And you'll see a bunch of things. Let's actually talk about them real quick. Value means if you want to find an x value, if you want to find y value for a given x value. What's a 0? Yes. X-intercept. It's your real x-intercepts for our calculator. We're going to be doing min and max. Intersect is where two functions are intersecting. These two guys, So number 4 is what you want to pick, maximum. The calculator asks you for 3 things. Let me make this a little bit bigger. The first thing it asks you for is the left bound. That means you want to take your cursor, which is blinking right now, and move it to the left of the maximum. It doesn't matter how far left. You don't want to go too nuts, but as long as you're clearly left of the hill, you're good to go. And then you're going to hit enter. As soon as you hit enter, 2 things happen. One thing is it switches the question to right bound, which we'll get to, but then it puts this black arrow to say it's not going to look any left of this black arrow. It's only going to look to the right of it. So for right bound, take your blinking cursor and move it to the right of where the maximum occurs. Again, doesn't matter how far right. And hit enter. So what this says now is the calculator is only going to be looking between these x values to find the maximum. And then it says guess. Move your cursor to the top of the hill if you want, and hit enter. Depending on the function, may take some time. Also, there's this thing that your calculator is going to do. It's called lie to you. So the first couple numbers, we might all have the same, but the last ones might be different. Why? I think it's based on where you made your guesses and where you put your bounds. So please try to be smarter than your calculator and accept that it will lie to you. So notice the relative maximum occurs at -1.29, comma 5.30 if we rounded to 2 decimal places. So second calc max, left bound, right bound guess. If you would, please do the same thing for the minimum, second calc. This time choose minimum. Hopefully for the min you'll get 1.29 comma negative 3.30. It's coincidental that the x values were negative of each other. We just have some little symmetry going on here with our function. That's not always going to be the case. So going back to this, okay. Oh, it's nice now. I guess we made up. Relative max was at negative 1.29, comma 5.30, is that what we said? And the relative min I just did the European decimal point. Sorry about that. Much better. All right, so let's talk about increase, decrease. And constant. So now that we know the x values, so we know that this occurs at negative 1.29. We know that this occurs as positive 1.29. Then for what values of x is the function increasing? Where else? Good. 1.29 to infinity. And where are we decreasing?